Coach Shweisky, thank you for taking time with us off the Block blog. Why don't we start? Why don't you tell us about the way that last season ended? You guys made it into the EIVA tournament championship. You upset Jay Hosak and his Patriot team at home. Yeah, tell us about how last season ended and the emotions of the team.
Yeah, sure. Well, last year was a pretty of a roller coaster ride for us. We had a rough start to the season, and then kind of turned it around and had a great run toward the end, and made it into the EIVA playoffs. And very fortunate to win that semifinal match on the road at George Mason, which they're a great team and a great crowd and great atmosphere. And we just kind of hit our stride at the right time and made it to the finals, which was pretty exciting. Unfortunately, didn't quite get over the hump there, but it was a great match, and we're excited to get back at it again this year.
Let's talk about one of your key pieces from last year, Junior Obo. You know, I'm a big fan of his. What do you miss about him?
Man, I don't know if I have enough time in the interview to go through all the things I miss about Junior Obo. He's an incredibly special human being and person in my heart and in the program. We miss a tremendous amount of things that Junior's not here. Obviously, his kills and blocks and his serving, but his leadership, his just sort of genuine, infectious love of the game and love of life and energy. I mean, he just set the tone so many times throughout the day and throughout the season of what we need to do as an organization. And he's incredibly missed, but he left his mark. He left his mark on Corey Short. He left his mark on Greg Luck and Joe Kelly and Parker Dixon, George Human, and a lot of the guys that looked up to him the last couple of years. And I think they've sort of taken his approach and his mindset. And so he's still with us. He's obviously still with us. I talked to him the other day. He's in New York City, working in investment banking, working incredible hours, putting in his dues. He's going to do something pretty special someday, that guy. But yeah, we are going to miss him quite significantly. He was a huge part of our program, that's for sure.
For me, yeah, I definitely see that infectious love of the game and just in life in general. But I know that he meant a lot to you as a leader. Who will be the leader on this year's team?
That's a good question. You know, I think we try to do things by committee. We try to spread the leadership out. We try to have several people that consider themselves captains. I mean, I'd rather coach a team with 15 captains than no captains. And so I think guys like Greg Luck, Joe Kelly, Corey Short are going to play a big role. I think Parker Dixon has stepped up. I think George Human is taking more of a leadership role. So I don't know that I would pinpoint one or two guys. I think we want the opposite of a diffusion of responsibility. We want everyone to feel confident and like they have a role to play. And I think hopefully we're going to see that this year.
Can you tell us how fall camp is coming along with practices and scrimmages?
Yeah, it's going great. Actually, we just spent a week in Italy and Slovenia. So we got to take our international trip once every 4 years, and we got to go out to Italy and Slovenia, which was a great time, and got to play some pretty high-level volleyball and bond as a team and eat a bunch of pasta and gelato and cannolis. So kind of recovering from the food side of things myself. But it was a really good trip. Anytime you get a chance to be in another culture and experience that, it can really broaden your horizons. So we were excited about that. One of our faculty fellows, mechanical and aerospace engineer professor that works with our team, was actually from Slovenia. He came with us and gave us a tour of Ljubljana, and it was really cool to kind of connect with him on that level. So that was a great opportunity. We had a big fall tournament yesterday. We hosted the 10th annual Glen Nelson Classic. We had 20 teams come in, which was a lot of fun. One of our teams made it to the finals, which was great and exciting. So it's been good. It's been really good. We're excited to play a lot of volleyball, a lot of different rotations and lineups, and see what the guys can do and kind of keep playing.
Let's talk about the 2019 season. You guys are one of the first, or you played the first match of the 2018-2019 season. You play at Pepperdine, and you're going to have 2 trips to the West Coast this year. How did that schedule come about?
Well, we had committed to play IPFW and Ball State January 4th and 5th. They had come to us. We had committed to return to them. Our sophomore setter libero, Cade Keegan, his brother sets for IPFW. So they got to play against each other last year, which was fun. We wanted to kind of replicate that before his brother graduated. So we had that date kind of set. And then both Brad Keller and David Hunt had reached out and asked if we could come out to California again, and it didn't work for our second trip. We already had that solidified with USC and San Diego and Northridge. And I said, there's a tiny sliver of time. I suppose we could come out before the January 4th, 5th date if you wanted us to come, but it'd have to be super early. It'd have to be like December 30th or the January 1st or 2nd, something like that. And they jumped at it. They said, yeah, let's do it. Dave said, we'll play on the 30th, and Brad said, I can get you on January 2nd. And so I asked the guys, and they sort of started salivating, and they said, more volleyball, coach, in California in January? That sounds great. Let's do it. So yeah, we're excited. I mean, it's a fun opportunity to come out there and play some of those teams, and being California in January is never a bad thing.
Well, I'm already committed to the 30th, but I'll definitely see you on the 2nd.
Nice.
Let's talk about your roster. So obviously you lose Junior. Anybody who knows anything about collegiate volleyball knows about George Human. I fear that the tendency might be to try to overuse George just because he's such a terminal hitter. How are you going to have Joe use or set George and try to spread the love around?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's one of the things we've been kind of game planning with this fall, is trying to see where is George going to be best, and then wherever George is, how does that make the rest of our team most efficient? So it'll be some combination out of the middle and potentially out of the opposite position and some sort of a hybrid. We're experimenting with some different things. I have a feeling we're not going to have it all sorted out by the time we get to those first matches, and see what kind of numbers he puts up. I mean, he's great in the middle. We don't have people who can do what he can do in the middle. But I don't know that we can have, I'm not sure we have people who can do what he can do at the opposite either. So it'll kind of depend on where he's his best, and then from the other mix of our guys who can kind of fill in that role and play. So I wish I had an answer myself, but that's kind of the fun of the fall, is experimenting and seeing what kind of load he can handle and be effective.
Do you feel, sorry to go back to your schedule, so you're making 2 trips to California. Do you feel making these trips out here will prepare your team for the competition in the EIVA?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's always been the goal, and I think last year kind of proved that to a T a little bit. We played a lot of tough competition. We did not have the win-loss record that we wanted, but we learned a lot. We got pushed and we got broken. We realized what parts of our system worked, what didn't work. And I think through that, we game planned and figured some things out, and we hit our stride at the right time. And so I've always been a big proponent of not sort of building up confidence just based on wins, wherever you can get them, but trying to play the best teams you can play and seeing what you're made of. So that's kind of the philosophy heading into the season as well.
Let's talk about more of the other pieces on your team. Tell us about a player that we should keep an eye on.
Excuse me.
Oh, no worries. Tell us about a player that is we may not know right now that we should keep an eye on. We obviously know about Parker and Joe and George. Tell us about a player that we should keep an eye on besides those.
It's a good question. We have 4 freshmen that we're pretty excited about. All 4 of them actually have been a little bit banged up this fall with injuries, so we haven't really had a chance to see them fully what they're capable of. So it's hard for me to say how they're going to play into the mix. But I would say of those guys that you mentioned, I would say Parker Dixon has made the biggest gains physically over the summer. I think he was the one that really put the time in the weight room. He's clearly put on some muscle and some strength, and you can even see it, excuse me, in some of our fall tournaments. He's the one that's just not wearing down or getting tired late in the day. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I think he's improved his game dramatically, and I think he's going to be quite a force this coming year.
Obviously, you said wins and losses are not indicative of the success of the team. So what is the barometer for the season? Is it EIVA championship or bust now that you made it to the EIVA tournament semifinals? Or finals, sorry.
Finals, yeah. I mean, I think, this is my 10th year, and I've been to, I think it's 7 EIVA semifinals and 3 EIVA finals. And yeah, we've been chasing that EIVA championship since 1998, the last time Princeton won it. So I think that is kind of the outcome goal that we chase. And we try to frame it in terms of process and say that if you work hard every day and try to get better every day, that's going to put you in the best position to get there. So, of course, we'd love to win as many games as possible along the way. but really seeing the growth mindedness and the process leading toward that hopeful outcome goal is kind of our what we're shooting for.
Sorry, last question. Can you preview the EIVA for us? Obviously, Mason lost a lot with their seniors, but I feel like they'll bounce back, and Penn State's going to probably have a better season than they had last year. How do you see the EIVA unfolding?
It's a good question. It's hard to tell. I think Penn State is still got to be the favorite. I think they've just built up so much institutional just success and sort of a standard of excellence that they always stick by. So I don't think they're by any means unbeatable or untouchable, but I think they are kind of still the Goliath on top of that mountain. They're going to be very strong. I think George Mason may have lost a few players, but Jay does a tremendous job recruiting and training, and I know they're going to be very strong. NJIT, I think, is a team that not a lot of people may know how strong they're going to be. We saw them this weekend. They have a transfer from Cal Baptist, a middle blocker who was an all-MPSF player. They got some foreign players in. Their top outside hitter, Alvaro Jimeno, played for the Spanish junior national team this past summer. They're going to be very good. And I think St. Francis is going to be pretty good. I think Harvard's going to be good. I think Charleston's going to be a lot better. I think with the new coach doing a fantastic job, getting in there and giving them some direction. So, I mean, we are expecting a dogfight and planning to take every match incredibly, seriously and with the utmost care and focus. And I'm excited to see who makes it to the EIVA Final Four and where we go from there.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for taking time with us at Off the Block blog. We wish you nothing but luck for the 2018-2019 season, and I'll see you down the road.
All right. Thanks very much.